way.
This is not bonus content, Nick.
Yeah, this is a Patreon exclusive bonus content.
It's neither Patreon exclusive nor is it bonus content. It is a lie on both counts.
No, it's only a lie if you say it is.
Okay,
The
sure.
the
Wait.
show this show is whatever we want it to be.
Wow, that is the most George Santos thing you said in a long time.
It's only a lie if you think it's a lie.
It's only a lie if you tell people it's a lie.
Yeah.
Then it's the truth.
It's only a lie if you say it's a lie. Otherwise, it's the truth.
Absolute truth. So, Nick is finishing up his wrapping of his presents for his mother. Happy Mother's Day. What did you get your mom?
A couple of not
Bowling ball with Homer written on it.
yes. Non-alcoholic wine.
Non-alcoholic wine.
Yeah.
Does she not drink?
No.
Oh.
Because she had some stomach issues and so didn't drink. And
Got
so
it.
it's not. We've realized that it's not the de-alcoholized wine because that never quite tastes right. So this is like a wine alternative. It's basically like a combination of ingredients that someone threw together to kind of mimic the taste of white wine, but it's not.
Okay.
So yeah.
So let's see. What else have I got? I totally forgot it's Mother's Day because I've got no kids and I've got no mom. It's just another Sunday for me.
Sure, but like you did name the episode. It's Mother's Day.
I did because I'm celebrating all you bad mothers out there.
No, I'm saying I'm impressed that you forgot it even after naming the episode.
Yeah. Well, it's like Nick said, I'm just finishing up wrapping, and I'm like, did they move Christmas? Oh, that's right, Mother's Day.
They did move Christmas. Christmas is in what's this month? May.
AC says, so it's old grape juice, your wine alternative.
I don't think it actually has grapes in it.
Yeah. It may be that your mom's allergic to something in wine, not.
That could be.
Yeah. There might be an allergy in there. So let's see. What's the latest thing in my life?
Yeah, what new crazy disaster did someone steal a car this time? Did someone No, okay, I've got it.
Okay.
Some rowdy kids tried to break into your house and you went like don't breathe madman on them.
Oh, I wish. That would be so cleansing to go don't breathe madman on just about anybody. I am always like a hair trigger away from that state.
You hear a window shadow and just like
oh yeah.
On.
That is the first thing. That's exactly what it says in the back of my head when somebody like pisses me off to the point of where like, okay, you're good. It's on. No. Here's my crazy, and it happened yesterday. Other than my knee is back up to blown up again, so we will just not.
no.
We're ignoring the knee. We're not giving it any attention. Clearly, the more attention you give it, the worse it gets. So we are not paying attention to it. We are ignoring it. We are letting it act up like an angry toddler and just not buying into their bullshit. But the craziness, the big disaster happened yesterday. I don't know if I don't think we've mentioned it. Crusader Kings 3 had a massive update, like a whole new. Oh yeah, the tours and tournaments. I'm dying to play it. So there's a big ass sale right now going on Steam. Essentially everything Paradox is dirt cheap, and Crusader Kings. Incidentally, Crusader Kings is free to play right now this weekend. So if you haven't played it, you might want to play it. Just give it a shot. But the tours and tournaments is incredibly detailed. I have been spending the last few weeks watching videos on it because the nature of Crusader Kings is that nothing is You have to research the game before you jump in. So I researched it. I was like, yeah, this is the weekend. This is the weekend. I'm going to have time to just spend the day diving into all the cool things that are there. So I got the update and started up Crusader Kings. And I got a notification that it will not start.
Oh,
So
geez.
I disabled all of my mods and it will not start. So I uninstalled it and reinstalled it, which takes quite some time. Verified my files, won't start. So finally, yesterday, somebody posted in the forums, hey, so I have Mojave, OSX Mojave, and it won't even start. And he's getting the same errors that I am. And somebody's like, hey, have you thought about upgrading your operating system, which is what I was fearing? And his notification was like, yeah, I upgraded it and it solved it. Thanks. It's like, fuck. So my $35 purchase of the huge bundle to buy everything that I've missed up to this point, which is the best deal for it, for the new content, is to get the bundle. It means I need to spend $1,100, $1,200 for a new computer. So
What?
it was a
Did you just get a
$1,200
laptop?
Yeah, I got the PC, but I don't want to. My Mac. My Mac is finally
So
old
wait, the
enough.
update for Crusader Kings was enough to like break its compatibility with your computer?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But
that's shit. Can you just like revert to an old version?
I could, but I don't wanna. I mean, I'm
Mm.
gonna. That's what I've been doing with this computer for quite some time. Um, I will share my screen with you. Let me share. I am going to show you my knickers. I am going to share with you my screen. I don't even know if it will actually share that screen. Yeah, let me show you why I need to upgrade my computer. Why I have been like dealing with very, very old software for quite some time and essentially downgrading much of the software that I've upgraded over time, up the updates. That's why. That's my computer. See that? iMac 27-inch?
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
why.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it
That
doesn't look terrible.
it's a great computer.
Yeah,
It's got
24 gigas of memory is really
right.
good.
It's a
3.4
great
gigahertz, that's really good.
right. i7 core, right? The problem is that little thing right here. Right there. That means I can't go past that right there.
Oh,
It will
really?
not allow this computer will not allow me to upgrade beyond Mojave. This is no longer supported by what is the next one?
And so
I forget
that
what the next one
means
is.
the Crusader Kings update is only compatible with newer versions of OS?
Yeah. Well, when we say
Oh.
newer versions, I mean, when did Mojave come out? Let me look at this. Stand by.
I think
Mojave
I just updated my iPhone.
iPhone is not. Oh, that's iOS. Totally different.
Oh, true, true.
Mojave year. The Mojave was released on September 24th, 2018. So it's 5 years old. That
Hmm.
operating system. It's very, very old. So yeah, in fact, when you do a search on you look up like Year of Mojave, you start seeing OSX Mojave end of life, end of life, end of life
Hmm.
announcements, end of life announcements. Everything is all end of life. It's and this is an end of life for Crusader Kings. So I'm gonna have to get myself. I think I'm gonna get myself a Mac Mini because they're dirt cheap.
Okay.
I mean, it's a Mac Mini, so I have to get and I just recycled probably 12 monitors and I have to now buy a new monitor.
Oh my god! Wait, why do you have to buy a new monitor?
Because I'm gonna get a Mac Mini. It's not an iMac.
It's not. Oh my god! It's just one thing after another. See this. This is the
What?
problem with PC gaming. When one part becomes obsolete, it creates a snowball effect. Was like, well, shit. Now I've got to upgrade this. Now I've got to upgrade this. Now I've
Yeah,
got to do this.
yeah. See, I have an iMac, which is my
Mm.
screen and my computer are all one thing.
Oh, okay.
When I get rid of my iMac, then I'm going either I could go to another iMac to the tune of $2,000, or because I'm not going to go to like the little like cheapy ones that they have. I'm going to have to get something that's similar to this, just more updated. And right now the Mac Minis they're brand new, and they came out with a Mac Mini that is actually cheaper than it was the last year's version. So they've actually dropped the price of the Mac Mini at the entry level. Now I'm not going to get the entry level. I'm going to get one step up from that, but it's got everything I need. It's going to be a little light for RAM, and that's fine. But it's got that M2 chip that's just crazy fast. It's more than enough than what I'm going to need. And it's like $700. It's cheap. So then I just got to get another, an external monitor. Mac Mini is essentially a box like this. And then I just have to get a monitor. So it's a good time. I'm glad it's happening this year rather than last year, because I would have been really pissed buying a Mac Mini last year and then have this year come out and the Mac Mini is even cheaper than it was last year.
Okay, that's good.
So yeah, I mean, $1,000 is not that much. I mean, it's a lot. Yeah, I don't really want to spend it because I just bought a car and tickets to Bali, and now I'm having to buy a new computer. But yeah, so thank you for the link. Let's see, if you have it on Steam, you can play it on the. No, you can, it isn't compatible on the deck. It's way too big a game to play on the Steam Deck. It is not Steam Deck. Even before the Tours and Tournaments expansion came out, it was not playable on the Steam Deck. And I could play it on the PC, but I really don't want to play it on my laptop, my PC laptop. I don't really want to play it on my PC laptop. I just kind of don't. Kind of like I gotta get it. It's prompting me to do something that has needed to be done in a while, and that is to finally bite the bullet and upgrade my Mac. Because we've had numerous problems with this podcast because of my Mac being, 11 years old.
Yeah.
So it's still worth something. I could still sell it for probably what I'm buying my new one for.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that Macs hold their value. I could still sell it for $1,000 at least.
Okay, then that makes it like really easy if you're not dropping that much money, but it's basically kind of trading in.
Yeah, I don't know if I could. I don't know if they would take it as a trade. I might ask them what they would give me for a trade-in versus what I could sell it for.
But not literally a trade-in, but if it works out that way, like, hey, you sell it and you get the money and you pay for that, then it all kind of breaks even.
Yeah, they sell refurbished ones of mine for like $1,200. Even 13 years, even 11 years old, they'll sell it for $1,200 because Macs hold their value. They're just great computers, and because you only get them through Macs, there's no sales. The price is the price.
Like Nintendo games.
Yeah. And AC Ray says, bull, Nick. The point of a PC is mixing parts on a whim. That's true. That is absolutely true.
I don't want to mix parts if the possibility is breaking things.
Yeah, Matt and AC Ray says, so Max are the Frelling Gibson guitars boomers buy up. Yes, that's very, very, very similar to very good analogy. It's a Gibson guitar of the computing world. So So yeah, AC Ray says, I went Windows 98 SE to Vista to Windows 10. I kind of get it.
Wow.
Yeah, you kind of get it.
That's a jump.
And yes, I did not mention, but I have a Tesla, which I washed again this weekend. So I guess we'll do. Should we even bother with the? Anybody here? Should we even bother with the intro music anymore since I'm not editing it down? I mean, should we retire the intro music?
I don't know.
It seems a shame. I mean, it's been around longer than you have, Nick.
That's true.
Yeah, it's my oldest friend. Thank you, AC Ray. Thank you very much. Actually, no, that's not what I use anymore. I use the Optimum No Rinse with wax. I used it for the first time this weekend. It's amazing. It's even better. We do need a sponsorship. I really should get a sponsorship from Optimum No Rinse because they're just amazing. Everything that company puts out is awesome. So, yeah, sure. Let's play the music just for old time's sake. But honestly, I want to know your opinion. Email me at esellers@gamehounds.net. Email me, ESELLERS @gamehounds.net. Let me know. Should we just retire the intro music? What do you think? Is it worth it anymore now that we're no longer editing the show for?
I mean, I think it's good to have it's like the intro to a TV show, right? There's like the cold open,
right? We're the warm,
and then there's like some cliffhanger. Guess what? We have news.
Guess what?
Cut to opening credits.
Guess what? We have news.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 678. We are recording this on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 14th, 2023. I'm Edie Sellers. I know that Shepard heard the music. I think Shepard is conditioned to the music the way that my dogs are conditioned to the outro.
I would believe that.
He heard that music and immediately crawled up into Nick's arms like he does every single week. He wasn't there 5 minutes ago, but now he is doing his thing. How are you, Nick?
I'm good.
How are you, Shepard?
He's good.
He's good. He's very good.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were just talking, well, and you already know this. Yeah, we were talking about how my computer, I need to get a new one. I'm just not happy about that, but it's got to happen. So, instead of playing Crusader Kings 3, which is what I wanted to do, very much so, I had a big silly night of playing Hitman 3.
Nice.
I definitely leaned into the stupid. Like I've been playing the campaign very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played the next episode in the campaign straightforward. And then I was like, yeah, let's just go stupid. So then I just went into art, just fast forwarded to something and played it in super casual and just ran around and murdered people and tried not to get caught. So yeah. Pretty fun. I did not stream it. I thought of doing it and I'm like, yeah, nah, I'll just do it. AC Ray says you paid for it. Rub it in the faces of those copyright jerks. What? Oh, the opening music. Song. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I did pay for it after I'd already paid for it once. Apparently, I got sold to some other company who started running copyright strikes against me. for it. So I had to buy it from them again because I bought it 13 years ago and didn't have the receipt anymore. Stupid. Anyway, you're right. I paid for it. I'm going to use it. So Hitman 3, still awesome.
Did you just like try to kill everybody,
I
or were you
didn't.
still trying to go for the target?
No, I was still sort of going through the target, but I was also not caring about like whether I, threw a like fireman's axe in the back of a street worker's, like a construction worker's head.
Oh yeah, throwing that axe. That's one of the funniest things. The way he just
Actually, what I'm looking for is there is apparently a level where you are on an island. I'm looking for the island. And if somebody will jump onto a jet ski in front of you, and if you whip your briefcase at that person's head on the jet ski, because the jet ski goes faster than the briefcase just follows around the jet ski until the jet ski stops and then brains them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just kind of seeing what kind of stupid stuff I can do. But yeah, Hitman, again, as always, it's fantastic. It's a great way. It repairs the damage done to me by Redfall. It just
good.
does. Oh God,
Did
Redfall
you
is so bad. Oh, I
did you
tried.
play more of it?
I did, and I tried to
Oh,
like give it a little bit more. Like, well, maybe it was just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm made for toxic relationships because I'm like, maybe it's just me. I'll go back one more time. No, it abused me again. It's just so bad. It's so
which
bad.
is funny because I've heard that it's better as a single player game than as a multiplayer game.
That's what I've heard too. Yeah. And I'm playing it single player. And the thing is, I kind of want to play. Only way I could see it redeeming itself is playing it multiplayer.
Yeah, like with a group of fun people that you can kind of
just
share the misery.
right. Or just like, having that mindset of recognizing that the AI is really that bad, and so that you just don't care. Just being stupid in a stupid game. There's a level of fun that can come from that. Of just like Dead Island, when we used to play multiplayer in Dead Island, just running around, being stupid, doing dumb stuff. Some of the best nights are just us having a couple of drinks and just doing stupid stuff in a game.
Redfall needs a blow up balloon.
Yeah, and an arcade
A
mode.
beach ball. It needs a beach ball.
Redfall needs a beach ball. Yeah, Redfall just unfortunately takes itself way too seriously for as bad a game as it is. If it was a better game, it would be more successful. If it was the same game but took itself less seriously, it would be a better game. But it is that horrible, I don't want to say sweet spot. What's the opposite of sweet spot?
Bitter spot?
Bitter spot? I don't know. Like just it's like the
bitter field. Bitter
bitter football field. Now it's like that point of it's everything wrong. It is that that nexus of bad where it doesn't it's a bad game and it doesn't recognize it's a bad game. So yeah, I was reading somewhere else. I don't remember where. Maybe it was I was hearing it and they were kind of a discussion about the interview with Phil Spencer, saying that if they'd had more time, they might have, like polished it differently. It's like, yeah, no, there's really no polish that could fix that. They would have had to tear it down to its studs and then start over. That was just a house that was built badly. And I think if they were to improve it with a small improvement, it would have been to turn it into a wild madcap caper. But the problem is that they'd already laid the groundwork for it being a, a serious game.
Yeah.
They couldn't undo the advertising, the promises. So
I remember, I forget what podcast I was listening to, but they were saying that, games take a long time to make, right?
mhm.
4 years is kind of the usual for a new big budget game. And they're saying, well, 4 years ago, this type of kind of co-op live service game, it was really big. And they mentioned Suicide Squad too, has a game kind of like Redfall that gets caught up in the backlash to this type of game
Yep.
because they started developing it when it was popular. Now everyone's over it. And so all these games coming out that were designed that way are just kind of stuck.
That's what happens when you chase trends.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can't chase a trend in games, because you might just get yourself into a situation where you're releasing your game and you're not only not the trend, but you are actually hated.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got to be you. You pick a game and worry about the game. Don't worry about the what's hot at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, what's the new Nazi this month? Okay, well, don't be that thing. If you don't start a game now of whatever the new Nazi is, because by the time you get that game out, it's not going to be the new Nazi. It's going to be like, that's so last year. That's so 2 years ago. Why are they releasing this now?
Yeah. So yeah, trying to predict what people will like 4 years from now. That's tough.
Well, that's what you do, is you just make a really good game that stands alone on its own 2 feet and doesn't follow a trend, doesn't go, we want this game, but we want our version of that game. If you're starting the conversation with that, then you've already lost. You've already lost. You're already going to fail. And I think more so this year than others, because we had such a rapid backlash, and not just a rapid backlash, but such a significantly large backlash to the live service multiplayer game.
Yeah, I think
It happened
the
fast and it
backlash
happened hard.
is like you have a live service game, and in the same way that the battle royales, in the same way that the MOBAs like League of Legends and Dota came out, got really popular. People tried to make their own. Some were better than others, but in the end, League of Legends and Dota remain strong.
Right.
Then there were the battle royale games. You got PUBG, you got Fortnite. Some others came in. You've got Call of Duty Warzone and Apex Legends that actually kind of made their mark and have stood up. But now they're kind of all that's left. And you can't make a battle royale game anymore because the audience already has their things. But with live service games, I think the tricky part is that's not really a genre, right? The live service it's a bunch of systems put around the game to like increase your engagement with it over time.
Right.
And like that's specifically what people got tired of, is those systems in a game that doesn't actually support it. Right? Like Avengers was a live service game that shouldn't have been a live service game. It would have been a perfectly fine superhero beat 'em up if it wasn't for like the need to put in loot. And like, yeah, with Redfall, like it could have made a fine arcane style zombie game or vampire game, but like they had to go this co-op kind of Left 4 Dead, but not really route.
Yeah. Yeah. It needed a way firmer hand. I don't know why we're going over Redfall again. We've given this game way too much attention for how bad it is, but boy, is it bad.
I mean, I think it's interesting to dissect why a bad game is bad, right? Like no bad game is just bad. Like it's bad for specific reasons.
Right.
What brought it to that place?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And there's also parts of Redfall that make it, I guess we're going back to it. There's parts of Redfall that have nothing to do with the kind of game it was and why it was bad. And it has nothing to do with the live service, it has nothing to do with the co-op. It's just bad. The AI, which I think is probably the worst part of that game, that was like demonstratively bad even 4 years ago. By 4 years ago standards, that was bad AI. It's inexcusable now. And I don't know how that passed muster with anyone, how that came across anyone's desk and they thought it was a good idea. That AI is broken. It's that bad. Again, probably could have been saved with a stupid AI simply by making it a don't take it quite so seriously game. You contrast that with Hitman. Hitman has AI in it. Very similar, where you're sneaking around trying to get past things. Granted, there's levels to it. Like the difficulty mode of master is very, very hard. The difficulty mode of medium is, medium hard. The difficulty of easy is stupid easy. But that's where you play it as like the silly of just like breaking into people's houses and seeing what's in the basement and stealing all this stuff and seeing what kind of like horrible contraptions that you can create that will cause somebody to get murdering people in different and funny ways. That's where you play around in that. That's where it goes from being, like a serious Hitman game to like really a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and fun to watch.
Like it has enough, the systems and like the mechanics are such that they can be goofy or serious.
Right.
Like it depends on how you approach it.
You can, pardon me, you can recover from a bad AI by adding in the lulls. But they didn't add lulls. Yeah. You could have had lulls in there, but they made the mistake of taking them. They couldn't go back at that point. Oh, hey, it just occurred to me. I got my license plate. I have gotten so lucky with my car. Not only did it name itself because its VIN number, the letters in the VIN number spell Sadie. SAYGDEE is the letters in the center of the VIN number. So it's Sadie. So I've been, even though it's called Normandy, I've been calling her Sexy Sadie the whole time. I got my license plate.
Well, see, Sadie is the AI in charge of the Normandy.
Maybe no, Edie is the AI.
No, but of your Normandy.
My Normandy is Sadie. Yeah. That's true. All right. So I got my license plate, and I'm a number nerd. Like I'm one of those people that when I get a hotel room, I look at the number and I decide if it's a good number or not based on like, is it all odds? Is it all even? Are there primes? What's the difference between the first number, the second number, and the third number? And can those relate to each other? I work those numbers in my head, and Kevin thought I was weird until he found out that Steve Wozniak does the same thing. But license plates, I also we in California, we have a number, 3 letters, and 3 numbers afterwards. And I always look at like my numbers, my letters to see what it says. Like the vibes number letters, if you sounded it out, was you. I got my license plate, and as soon as I got it, it made me jump up and down. You ready?
Okay. Fire!
What a perfect license for a Normandy. Fire!
That's good.
Yeah, it's like it's naming itself.
Sadie, fire.
Fire!
Now you always have to spell fire FYR.
Yes, I know. I do now. It just makes me, I saw that. It just made me so happy. It's everything about that car. Something happened. It just makes me so happy. Hopefully not predicting an accident. That's true.
Well, no,
absolutely true.
Edie would cause the accident because she'll say fire, and the Tesla will shoot something.
I'd like to think so. Cheddarbox says the Division series has been one of the better live service games, and that is still pretty popular. Yeah, true.
I'm surprised at how long the Division has been going on.
Honestly,
I think Ubisoft is surprised at how long the Division's going on.
Yeah, I'm surprised too, because I've gone back to it and realized it's fun until you realize it's the grind, and then I leave it, and then I come back. I'm like, oh yeah, this is super fun, and then I realize, oh yeah, it's the grind. But the thing about the Division is the AI. It's really good.
And I think like what the Division gets right is it's a good hang out with friends and shoot stuff, or like a good podcast game.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you can play like kind of with half your brain off.
Right. I mean, Division, in the times that I've gone back to it, like the first Division game, when it was just a game before it that's the thing. It was a game before it became a live service. That first Division game, I really liked the story. I liked the idea going through to, like unraveling of how this plague happened, how everything went so bad, then nailing it down to, I mean, spoiler alert, the guy putting the virus on a dollar bill and over Christmas and spending it at a mall. Actually, I think it was more than $1, but putting it on money and then just handing it out and spending it over Christmas. I really, really like that, but I think that's one of the reasons why the Division did so well. Is it when it came out, it really wasn't a live service. So you shouldn't say the original Division. Division 2 came out and built on that, and it's done a very good job of adding locations in the way that Assassin's Creed adds locations to further the story. And then it became less about this story and more about just the live service part of it.
Yeah. I think it was a little ahead of its time, because I remember when it first came out, people were comparing it to an MMO, but like it wasn't an MMO, and people were confused. Like it's kind of half an MMO. It's got like the raids of an MMO, but it's not that. What is it? And kind of over time, this new live service model came out, and Ubisoft kind of adopted it for the game.
Right. So the Division, yes, it is a live service game, but that's not how it started. Division 2 wasn't even like that. I mean, Division 2, it was like you had a campaign area, and then you had this center section that was PvP.
Yeah, I guess is there a battle pass for Division?
A season pass, I think it is. There is a season pass, I believe. And I wouldn't know. It's been a long time since I played it, but maybe Chunder, you might know. You might play it.
I feel like it's not a live service game unless it has some sort of seasonal thing that you buy and rank up over time for cosmetic bonuses.
True. And or just like it's not an MMO unless you can dance. Your character can dance. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I get that. So what have you played?
More Triangle Strategy.
Mm-hmm.
That game continues to be really cool. It's funny. The more I play, there's like the typical story of like a prince who gets kicked out of his kingdom and then has to like return home and take his kingdom back. Right? You've got the prince character who's doesn't really want the duties associated with a prince. He would rather hang out with his other prince buddy and like go out and spar with him. His older brother takes him to task of like, hey, you're not responsible enough. You're a prince. You need to step up. He's like, I don't want to do this. No one in my family gives me the responsibility I think I deserve. Naturally, there's an invasion. His father, the king, gets killed. His brother gets killed, and he gets exiled to his buddy's like land. And then he has to figure out, well, how do I get my kingdom back, right? And it's the kind of typical story of like the coming of age. Boy becomes a man. He has to learn to be the leader that he never was before. But what's funny is that's not the protagonist. the protagonist is his buddy. And so the more I play, the more I kind of realize, oh, the main character of this story is not who I'm playing as, which is just an interesting angle to take it. And I kind of dig it. It doesn't necessarily impact like the events because the two characters are always together. But it's just an interesting twist that I was not expecting as I played more and more.
There was one game, and I can't remember what game it is. I just remember that there were multiple games where this character arrived is part of it, and he's kind of just a simple man, and he's got a son, a disabled son, who's got also some like special abilities, and he's just a recurring character. And I forgot which one it was, and I will have to go back and figure it out. But my if I was going to have a dissertation paper to write on video games, I would write that series, that game, is actually the main character is this parenthetical character that keeps recurring, because he and his son are the only characters that are in all multiple chapters, multiple sequels of this game.
That's Dragon Age.
Is it? Yeah, it is. You're right. It is Dragon Age.
Yeah, it's the like not gnome, but like the dwarf Sellers and his son.
Yes.
There's that one scene where like you come up upon the son and there's like bodies all around him.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that.
And I opined that actually Dragon Age that's right, because it was Inquisition that it was in. No, my suggestion was that Dragon Age is not about any of the characters. It's not about anybody that you actually play. It's actually this one character story, because this is the story that is unfolding over all of the chapters of the seller. And then the son, and the son is just kind of there. In fact, they were in Origins, because at the very beginning of Origins, you have to help them to get into the first town. I remember them having to cross a bridge to get them into the town. So they were there from the first chapter of the first game.
I definitely know they were in Origins, because I didn't think I played enough of Inquisition to see them.
Right. And now that you got an Inquisition, you started to get more of the story of like, oh, hey, there's more to this son. There's something with this son that we are not privy to, but in the way that, what was it, Summer in Firefly, where she starts out just being this kind of crazy sister who has been tortured, and then you realize she is a murdering machine.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing is kind of happening with that son. And that starts at Dragon Age, the second chapter of Dragon Age. After you get out of the introduction area, that is the first place you fight after the introduction. And it goes all the way through where you're starting to see, oh, there's something going on with the son that is more than what it seems. So I will suggest that's the main character. That is the main character of Dragon Age, no matter what anybody says. So anyway, you were saying you find out that the protagonist of the game is not the person you're playing; it's the best friend.
Yeah, it's basically it's the best friend story, which it's just kind of a neat take on it. It's interesting to see. I think it adds something to the story, because otherwise it would be a typical story of like a prince getting exiled and then having to fight back for his family home. But by telling it through this other guy's point of view, it doesn't quite feel as cliched.
Yeah, does anybody in the comments remember the name of that character?
Yes,
Sandal
and Bodon Fennec.
Bodon, yep. Sandal. The story is about Bodon and Sandal. It's Sandal's story. Bitter says this is my kind of game. Yeah, it is definitely your kind of game. I know you well enough for that. So you're still playing it. How far in do you think you are?
I'm about halfway, I think, maybe a little more. I know there are I forget how many chapters. I think there are like 20 chapters and I'm on 11.
Oh wow, you're only halfway through.
Yeah. Um but yeah, I'm still enjoying it. The combat continues to like be this really good balance of challenging but not frustrating. There's a moment in the last like fight that I had where I was fighting like two hero units and they're just bandits. Uh, but they were tough. And like as I'm moving my guys around, trying to figure out the best way to do this, over like a couple of turns, I took out one of the hero units, and then I kind of turned my attention to some of the other like mobs, like just the archers or the enemy mages. And I kind of realized, oh, wait a minute. I've got this. And like I still had a good 30 minutes left in the game, in the battle, but just looking at all the units and realizing, okay, this other hero unit archer is weak enough that I've got two characters surrounding her. They can take her out. My other characters here are enough to take out the remaining mages and archers. The way the game works is each character starts with like 3 pips, like 3 points. And you have different abilities that use different amount of those points. You have one that uses 1 point, you have a 2-point ability, you have a 3-point ability. Every turn you get a point back. So that means if I use a 1-point ability, then when my turn comes back around, I'm back at 3 points because I just got that back. But what that means is 2-point abilities, you can kind of only use it twice, and then you have to wait an extra turn to rebuild it, to rebuild those points. So you use your magic that takes 2 points, then you have to like wait a turn. Then the next turn, you'll have those 2 points back. So the way the battle played out is I had a bunch of mages because it was raining, and so I could use lightning, and it was really effective. Burst out of the gate, just kill this guy, kill that, just slaughtering everybody. Then the mages ran out of mana. And it was like, oh shit. I need them to retreat. And then the other people were able to move up, surround my like swordsmen and archers, and like they couldn't do anything for a turn because they had to recharge their magic. And it was like, okay, shit, all of a sudden my big offensive strategy hit its limit and I had to pull back and retreat, and the enemy was able to push forward. But then every now and then, every other turn, they got their magic back. And so it became this like big offensive push and then retreat. And then like, okay, every other turn, do the magic, kill that guy, and then retreat, heal, have the front
war
line.
Of attrition. It became a war of attrition.
Like have the front line be the defense. And so at a certain point, I realized, oh, wait, I'm winning this war of attrition. Like I've got this. And that's a good feeling to like realize halfway through the battle of just, oh, wait a minute, my strategy is working. I can win this. I've got this. And so that's kind of the arc that a lot of the battles take is that there's a fun story, like a fun give and take of, oh man, I came out of the gate strong, but then things turned and I had to retreat. And the mechanics are forgiving enough that, you can have that back and forth. It's not just I need to be super offensive and win. It's about playing smartly.
Mm-hmm. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Sorry, let me fix that. That was me hitting the wrong button. Sorry.
I mean, that's kind of all I have to say. Like the game continues to be like a really, really good tactic game that rewards tactical thinking as opposed to just kind of send all you guys out and have them hit really hard.
So I'm bringing up what AC Wraith just posted in chat. Arnold Rimmer Risk. The following is an excerpt from Red Dwarf Series 4, Episode 6, entitled Meltdown. Behold the King of Risk, Arnold Rimmer. So there we were at 2:30 in the morning. I was beginning to wish I'd never come to cadet training school. To the south lay water. There was no way we could cross that. To the east and west, 2 armies squeezed us in a pincher. The only way north, I had to go for it and pray the gods were smiling on me. I picked up the dice and threw 2 sixes. Caldecott couldn't believe it. Me at my go again, another 2 sixes. Listener says, Rimmer, what's wrong with you? Don't you realize no one is even slightly interested in anything you're saying? You've got this major psychological defect, which blinds you to the fact that you're boring people to death. How come you can't sense that? Rimmer. Anyway, I picked up the dice again. Unbelievable. Another 2 sixes. So yeah, that's rather long, but I'm going to have to read that later. Thank you. So triangle strategy. Still love it. Still like it. Still a win.
Yes.
So the one thing we are not mentioning, at least I don't think you're going to mention because I don't see it here. Did you notice that everywhere you went online looking for news, it was nothing but Zelda?
Yeah, I
Holy crap, people are losing their minds about that game.
I put that in my news headlines. That
It
Legend of
is?
Zelda comes out, proves video games are art, changes the world.
Yeah. Well, I think that everyone is losing their minds over Zelda. Yeah, I might as well add that as something. Everybody losing their minds over Zelda is yes, very much about Zelda. Apparently, it is all that and makes bread and espresso and will feed your dog and wash your car for you. But the it is also a reflection of how many games in recent days have released that were highly anticipated and turned out to be absolute duds. To actually have a game that everybody thought was going to be good and have it come out and be as good, if not better than they thought, it's making everyone's heart sing. It's renewing faith in gaming. And that's why everybody's losing their minds about it.
Yeah. That's fair.
If you go to what is it? VG 24/7, it's literally every single story for the last 4 days has been about Zelda. If you go to back to what's left of GameSpot, it is 2 full pages of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, just 2 full pages of that. I had a hard time finding news because of all this Zelda Tears of the Kingdom stuff.
Yeah. AC Wraith says, I enjoy strategy games, but I'm reminded of that scene whenever one is explained. Man, you know what? I love hearing people explain strategy games. Having someone sort of walk through, oh, this happened, then I did this. There's a way to do it that is really entertaining because it becomes a story, right? Like I did this, then they came back, they killed my healer, so I didn't have any healers. What was I gonna do? I had to find another way. Like, what makes a good strategy game is the story of the battle. And like I said, that back and forth of I did something, my opponent countered it, then I countered them, and so on and so forth. And that makes for a really compelling story if you tell it well. You could tell it poorly, sure. But the people who can tell it well, like on podcasts, make for a really, really fun time. Three Moves Ahead. 3 Moves Ahead is a great podcast because one of the hosts, Rob Zachney, who's on Waypoint, is really good at telling the story of his strategy game.
And so you are a Rimmer and I am a Lister. I cannot. I mean, yeah, for like a short story, but like a really long story of how somebody beat someone.
Well, I mean, ideally,
I'll watch it. I'll watch it on YouTube, but to hear somebody tell the story is like.
I mean, it as part of a podcast conversation. I hope it's not going to be a 30-minute, super detailed discussion of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it's 10 minutes. It's a short story.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There's a part of me that kind of wants to buy a Switch just so I could play. I mean, people bought Switches to play the original Legend of Zelda, to play the original Zelda. So, and then now I want to buy another Switch because now there's 2 games that are console sellers for me.
So like, I'm on record as saying I did not like Breath of the Wild. I think that game is overrated. There's a lot about it that annoyed me, but even I'm kind of getting caught up in the, well, maybe Tears of the Kingdom will be different. Maybe I should pick it up.
Maybe
But
you
then,
should.
but then part of me thinks, or maybe I should go and replay Breath of the Wild, like to make sure, hey, do I like these things or not?
Yeah.
Because everything I've heard says it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild. So if I don't like some cool component of that game, I probably won't like it in Tears of the Kingdom either.
I guess it's got way more like you can make stuff inside the game.
Yeah, I've heard, like, I've watched enough videos of it at this point that one of the big new abilities is called Ultra Hand. And that basically allows you to take one object and attach it to another object. And so early in the game, one of the things it forces you to do is like there's a floating island and a floating island way over there. And there's like a big rail that connects them. And so you have to take this giant hook, stick it onto a wooden plank, then take that, hang it onto the rail system, and then jump on. And it will kind of create a little
Zip
I
line.
forget the term. Yeah, like a zip line, except it's something you're standing on to get you from point A to point B. And there's a whole lot of that throughout the game of, hey, I need to cross this river. What things can I stick together to create a boat? So I'm going to cut down this tree and I'm going to put a bunch of wood together. And then, I don't know, I'm going to create a fan for a motor and I'm going to cross the river. And so there's a whole lot of stuff like that.
AC Ray says Tears of the Kingdom is even bigger, isn't it? Wasn't travel an issue with you on
Breath
of the Wild?
It took a long time to get anywhere. I didn't like the stamina. It really limited how much you could climb. I didn't like horses. Like you would have a horse that would make it easier to get from point A to point B, but then you couldn't like call it and have it spawn next to you, like in The Witcher or anything like that. If I parked my horse and climbed the mountain and came down the other side, that horse was gone. It ain't coming back. It's stuck on the other side of that mountain. It may as well be dead. So then I'm out of a horse. It's like, what do I do now? I guess I'm gonna walk everywhere. That
taking the horse
sucks.
up the mountain.
No, the horse.
Just think now you can take things and stick them together to carry your horse.
Maybe I can create a horse elevator. Or maybe I'll create like a horse jetpack. Oh no, better yet, like a horse catapult.
Anyway, so any other games that you played before we move on?
No, that's it.
All right. So shall we start the news, even though technically we already started the news with that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's hit the news. The GameHounds news, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie and Nick DiNicola. And our first item is, I guess technically our second item is.
I was gonna say, do we want to continue with Tears of the Kingdom, or do we want to get like to bigger news?
Sure. I mean, I hear millions of Nintendo fans screaming at the screen right now.
This is the big news.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point of comparison. Like we've talked about game sizes for a while. And I think just the other day, there was some article on some website that was like, PC games are now averaging 100 gigabytes, and most PC gamers are not prepared for it. There's an article on Kotaku that's great. Tears of the Kingdom is smaller than a Call of Duty patch. Tears of the Kingdom is a 16 gigabytes. It's only 16 gigabytes big.
Holy buckets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah. Like it's wild. Even most like indie games, small indie games get to like 20 gig.
Oh, easily. God, that could be one of the smallest, most successful games of all time. If you could rank success on by bit, by megabit, this could be like one of the more expensive games of all time.
Yeah, it's nuts, especially when you think like, has the headline suggested, there are Call of Duty patches that are bigger. There are
Yeah.
just patches in general that are bigger than this entire game.
Okay, my neighbor just left me some food on my front porch, so I'll have to go out and get it. Yeah, that's crazy to me. That's just crazy talk to have something that small be that good. So, let's see. My first item is let's see what anybody says. So many people said things in the comments. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's see, what is my first one? Do we want to talk about the Activision Blizzard shit show? One more
Sure.
time? Sure. Because I mean, it's not a week unless we talk about the Activision shit show. Okay, so this week in the Activision Blizzard shit show, it's not huge news. It's not very big news. Like I said, the news cycle has been dominated by Zelda to the exclusion of just about everything else. But one thing that did come across is that you remember that last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, that the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, aka the CMA, rejected the Activision Blizzard sale because they said it would give too much of a competitive advantage to Game Pass and Microsoft streaming. And so the Microsoft hired like the very heavy hitting lawyers, I should say barristers, I guess it would be, to appeal this ruling. And the CMA has fired its next salvo after Microsoft hired its authority killer lawyers. They added even more conditions to their requirements in order to meet the requirements of them giving a yes to the Activision Blizzard deal. Essentially, they said that if Microsoft wants to own any part of Activision, meaning that if Microsoft, if it wants to purchase not only shares in Microsoft, invest in Activision, wants to own shares in any company that owns shares in Activision, it must get written consent from the CMA. So in order to acquire any interest in Activision or any of its subsidiaries, it must get written consent from the CMA. So, yeah, they're not joking around. It's like, oh, okay, you're going to appeal this? Well, we're going to make the rest of your life even harder. So if there's a subsidiary that Microsoft wants to purchase, a portion of or invest in a game of that subsidiary, then they've got to get written consent for it. So in very basic term, the CMA has demanded that any future move to acquire even the tiniest sliver of Activision by Microsoft, they have to get explicit approval from the CMA to do it.
It makes sense. Like, this is a way to kind of prevent them from backdoor acquiring the company.
Yep.
But I'm also surprised that it extends to any company that's also invested in Activision.
Right. Any subsidiary or acquiring any interest in Activision, any of its subsidiaries, or any companies that have any interest in Activision. So it's as it stands now, as we all know, Activision and Blizzard and Microsoft have pledged to fight this. This is probably just yet another thing that they're going to fight. Honestly, I think that might even be a bad thing that they added this, because this might seem retaliatory, and that Activision can use it as evidence that the CMA is actually being unreasonably discriminatory against Microsoft. Could go either way, but I mean, I don't blame them. Microsoft absolutely would do that if they could. Yeah. Absolutely would do that if they could. So hard to say, but yeah, it's another wrinkle in Microsoft's world.
In similar news, Reuters has the sources that they have.
Reuters, you mean?
Oh, Reuters?
It's Reuters.
I guess, okay, I can see that. Reuters. Okay.
Reuters is Reuters.
Reuters
news service
says that according to their sources, the EU antitrust regulators are set to approve the acquisition next week. I know the EU.
We talked about how this might be very interesting.
So I think the EU is scheduled to release its findings on the 22nd.
Yeah.
But
Reuters
says that it could come as soon as the 15th, which, as of this recording, is tomorrow.
Oh, we talked about how this would play out very interesting if the EU approved it, but the UK didn't, because then Microsoft would just move full force, and then you couldn't have an Activision. What's UK going to do if the rest of the world approved? And that the EU might just do it just to spite the UK because of the whole Brexit thing.
Yeah, it's
this is getting spicy drama. Also petty. If that is the case, can we say that's the ultimate petty move?
I mean, okay. EU? Look, just because the EU approves a deal doesn't mean that they are doing it purely out of spite.
I don't think purely out of spite, but I think that there is an element of petty. It may not be a petty sandwich, but it's definitely got some petty spread on that sandwich.
They got some spice, hey, let's add some petty salt on there, just to
right,
yeah,
just sprinkle some petty on it, just a dash of petty. So yeah. Bam, petty. I should make, you've had pink sauce, you've had the fire sauce, you have Guy Fieri's, what is it, Bam sauce or whatever it is. I need to make some petty sauce.
I'm surprised that's not just like a gag gift, right? Just
petty sauce?
Get some sauce, get just like some salt, and just put a label on it that says petty salt.
Petty, it's a spice of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. If this happens, this is gonna be super interesting.
I feel like that would put pressure on the UK to just reverse the decision on appeal. I'm sorry, we didn't get it right the first time.
Right. They're going to be in a real bad and the question is, would anyone in the UK do that? Because the whole thing about Brexit is we don't want to be under the EU. We won't want the EU dictating anything. And if the EU dictates that the UK actually changed something that their court said, they might get petty and dig their heels in.
Yeah. But ironically, all the people who were pro Brexit are also pro Microsoft acquisition.
Yeah, true, probably. So, I'm going to be watching very carefully on this one. In fact, watch the Discord server. Can I plug the Discord? Because when this goes down, if this goes down, I am absolutely going to be on the Discord server going nuts, saying, called it. going to be interesting. So, thank you for that. That's I didn't see that, and I am all about it. Because grab your popcorn.
It makes it a much bigger deal of what the FTC does.
Yeah, that very much could be the United States would be the tiebreaker on this, and it would, given that this is turning out less to be about antitrust and having, like too much competition, anti-competitive. This is becoming less about being anti-competitive and more about politics, especially if the EU does approve it and the UK doesn't.
I mean, like,
and
the
if
thing
that
is,
is the case, that is going to put all the pressure on the United States. Because Microsoft is a United States company. And if the US doesn't, like if US says sides on, Microsoft's side, then you know what's going to happen.
But
Japan is going to side on Sony's side. And then it's going to be like a world economic war.
Won't. Sony already, Japan already approved the merger.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. When did that happen? When did this happen?
That happened a while ago.
It's Japan. Let's see.
So AC Wraith is like Microvision. Are we back to card news? I am shocked that nobody has referred to it as Microvision before now.
Yeah. Oh, can we put that slogan it now? Can we benefit this?
Can I trademark it? Can we get microvision.com?
Japan approves Microsoft Activision deal. When did this happen? Japan's JFTC has approved the process in a press release on its website, and this was at the end of March. Oh, well, I wonder if Sony has appealed. Because if the United States goes on Microsoft's side, then I wonder if
maybe. I have no idea. Can you appeal a positive decision?
I don't know. Don't know. Then think about Japan. Japan's was it JFTC?
Oh yeah. They're regulatory.
Yeah. Bitter says cool stubble. It's a Mother's Day stubble.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Have you ever grown a beard?
Not like a real beard. It's all just been like, well, I'm off for 2 weeks. I'm not going to shave.
Are you going to do that when you're off for a month?
I'm not off for a month anytime. I'm off for a week in July and 2 weeks at the end of December.
Oh, that's right. It's a week. Okay.
Yeah. But no, I don't like beards. It feels weird. I've got a thing on my face. It just kind of gets in the way a lot of time. It's like weirdly oily. He likes it because he can rub on me and kind of scratch himself.
Nuzzle.
Mm-hmm. But no, beards are.
You grow a mustache so that you can truly be Thursday Nick on Movember.
That's the most I would do. I couldn't do.
Come November, you should do that.
Nah.
Microvision, automotive LiDAR technology, and autonomous vehicles. It's already taken. Yeah, that is your bad joke explained. Got it. Yeah, I was wondering about what you meant about automotive. Anyway, so okay, we will watch that. That will be me with my popcorn. In fact, everybody who's in the chat room right now, Bitters, AC Wraith, we've got Chaos, we've got I know we had Chunder. Yeah, Chunder. Anybody else? If you are in the chat room right now is your moment to say something. If that happens, I will all buy you popcorn and have it sent to your house.
Oh.
So we can all eat popcorn together. And I'll get the good kettle corn too. Kettle corn or caramel corn, whichever you prefer. I will buy you the flavor of popcorn you prefer. I will. They actually have these services that you can pay for, that you just send it to them and you pick the flavor of popcorn that you want and then they send it to you.
That's
I will
good.
get you all that. So anybody else? In fact, Microsoft,
Activision, and
Ubi.
Ubisoft.
Oh God! So what would that be? Mabui?
Microvision Soft? No, Microvisoft.
Microsoft?
Microvisoft.
Where would Ubisoft? Well, I guess that's soft. I
Yeah,
guess
it's a soft.
Ubisoft. No, then you'd have to put the Ubi because otherwise, it's all soft. Cheese popcorn it is. You will all get a gift from me of, I forget what the name of the company. I just bought it for
Well, see,
somebody
I
up
was just
in
thinking,
Sacramento.
if Microsoft acquires Ubisoft, you can just call it Microsoft.
True.
Continues to work.
Yeah. All right. So my next item is, if you're in the chat room, now is your moment to like speak up, because the window is closing for being in on the popcorn giveaway. So my next item is Summer Games Fest. It's coming. And we now know who is going to be in the Summer Games Fest this year. 40 developers, publishers, and tech companies have confirmed that they're going to be participating in it. This is according to a tweet from the Summer Games Fest's Twitter account. So the partners are going to include Activision, Amazon, Annapurna, Bandai Namco, Capcom, CD Projekt Red, Devolver, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Gearbox, Larian, Netflix, Paradox, PlayStation, Razer, Samsung Gaming Hub, Sega, Square Enix, Steam, Ubisoft, Xbox, and others. So essentially, it's E3. It's E3. Just not E3. Oh, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta sting to see essentially E3 going to the Summer Game Fest. So it is going to be June 8th on the same week.
So yeah, that's June 8th. Microsoft has something scheduled for June 11th.
Right.
And I think I saw a rumor that Sony might have something at the end of this month because they just wanted to get out ahead of Microsoft.
Right. Yeah. In fact, that might end up being the little war between them of who's going to be first.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to kick off June 8th. There's going to be a live show hosted by Jeff Keighley, because who else would host it? It's going to be at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK. Noon, 12 p.m. 12 p.m. That would be noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And it says 9 p.m. Central. No, that's can't be Central. That's something else. CEST. But yeah, so that's going to happen is a live show, and I guess it's going to go on for the whole several days. So it's going to have digital events, demos, announcements, breaking news. It's all going to be essentially E3, but all digital, of course, because E3 doesn't do digital. In fact, E3 doesn't even do E3 anymore. There's going to be multiple streams going on over the summer. So yeah, it's going to be sort of large. It's also going to have something called the Day of the Devs, which is going to be taking place on June 8th with an upcoming look at indie games from IM 8-Bit and Double Fine.
Yeah, they've done Day of the Devs before.
Day of the Devs is going to come back. So yeah, set your calendars. June 8th. We're actually going to have some news, because we haven't had any news in a couple of weeks. And I would imagine for the next 2 shows, we're going to have you unless Sony breaks,
unless something leaks.
Unless somebody wants to jump to the head of the line. It's entirely possible. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a dry desert of news for a little while.
Okay. There've been a couple news stories about CEOs talking about AI. Specifically, Activision Activision, Blizzard, and
AC Ray says, "I
EA.
want a speech by Christopher Judge." That's going to be its own stream that is going to be essentially from the day it starts until the day it ends.
Yeah. Do you really want like a 30-minute speech?
Oh, at least.
Although,
At least. That was him.
I mean, we tease him, but like it was also a pretty good speech.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Just the awkward was awesome. Anyway, you were saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Bobby Kotick likes AI.
I'm gonna go get the
And
food off my porch before, like critters get it. So stand by.
okay.
Keep going.
So he specifically mentioned in an interview that he says, quote, "I've always had this vision for what a new Guitar Hero product could be, but without having AI and then the processor embedded either in phones and computers or in game consoles that allow you to actually have the speed of processing to enable that AI, we've never been in a place where AI is going to have practical reality and applicability for games until now." So he's basically saying that he's always had a vision for Guitar Hero that involves AI, but it's really, he gives no indication of what that idea might actually be. And it's such a weird thing because I don't know what it could be other than like trying to automate the note highway, but it seems so weird that he would get so excited about AI with Guitar Hero when that seems like such an odd combination. And then we have EA. EA's president Andrew Wilson, CEO Andrew Wilson, who was asked about AI in a recent financial meeting, and he has the worst. He tried to be reassuring, but it came off terribly. He was asked about like he basically said that video games will be one of the greatest beneficiaries of AI. And then he went on to say, "The fear of displacement of the workforce is something we read a lot about and we talk a lot about. And we think about every revolution over the course of time, from the agricultural revolution to the industrial revolution and so on. There has been a displacement of the workforce in the near term, and then meaningful increases in workforce opportunities over
He's
the long
not wrong.
term.
He's not wrong. Doesn't mean that it's
Our hope is that AI represents the same opportunity and working very closely to ensure it benefits ways, blah, blah, blah." And yeah, he's not wrong, but also basically saying, yeah, we're probably going to lay off a bunch of people.
It's very death of a salesman.
It's very like, my God, man, if you're trying to like reassure your employees by saying, yes, all revolutions have, but the thing is, the way he phrased it too is so terribly dystopian. There has been a displacement of workforce in the near term, and then meaningful increases in workplace opportunities. Not necessarily, they're just
not the same people. No, there was not the same people that get hired. It's a whole bunch of different people, and the people that didn't get hired, guess what? They all committed suicide or ended up, in soup lines.
So yeah, basically, it sounds like EA is going to totally fuck over its employees with AI.
That's
moment
the
they
same kind of. It's not just dystopian. It's very narcissistic, almost to the point of sociopathic. That would say, actually, the Depression was actually very good for the country because we were able to innovate a lot. We were able to develop our infrastructure. Think like all of the greatest bits of infrastructure that we have in this country, from the Hoover Dam to just about every bridge in this country, came about because of the Depression. So really, it was an opportunity, and that's great, except for all the people that died.
Yeah, we don't talk about them.
Yeah, the ones that starved to death or burned to death in sweatshop fires, and children that had to work to support their family.
Collateral damage.
Right.
That's all.
It's sociopathic.
Yeah. Bitter says So I want a game that's totally AI that could be played for infinity that invents the settings and people on the fly.
Yeah.
That's
terrible.
that's kind of what they want.
Yeah. By the way, the food on my porch was not me food. It was dog treats.
I mean, I don't know. That looks like some pretty good beef jerky.
It is. It's chicken jerky. It's SPC chicken jerky. Made with real chicken fillets. And I'm about to make 2 dogs very, very happy. Buddy, yeah. Come here. And Mia's right here on it. Buddy. Oh, we know it's coming. Oh, she's just about up in my lap right now. You ready? You ready? There you go. Good dogs. Oh, happy dogs. Now leave me alone. So yeah, Bobby Kotick once again proving what a tremendous dick he is.
That was Andrew Wilson of CEO of EA. Bobby Kotick was just like, I want to do some stuff with Guitar Hero. Either way,
it's all bad. It's all bad.
Yes, it's all bad.
It's all bad.
Like I said, like the headline says, CEOs love AI.
Bitter says, I'm with you on the Christopher Judge speech. We could actually just think of this. We could actually just get an AI that could auto-generate an infinite speech from Christopher Judge and put it with Christopher Judge's voice and just make it run for 24 hours. Just say, give us an infinite speech.
Don't give people ideas. Look, they could even deep fake him, like his face and his voice, to just give us an endless speech.
I think it's a freaking art project right there. Anyway,
every 5 minutes, like the Oscar music comes on to try to get him to go off, and then he just keeps talking over it, and eventually
gives up. At random intervals, starting at about like 5 minutes, and then just at random intervals, keeps trying to play him off, and it won't work. And you know what's scary about AI is I could put that request into ChatGPT to write it that in Python, and it would spit out the code.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving right along. I have another story. Starfield has applied for its ESRB rating, and it got its rating. It is rated M, no big surprise, but in the ESRB rating, of course, they have to say the reason why they're getting this rating in their application, and it very clearly outlines sex, drugs, and rock and roll, with not so much rock and roll, but sex and drugs certainly. So I'm gonna put it on the screen, the actual application. So the application suggests and says that players are going to be using futuristic guns, lasers, axes, and explosives to kill enemies. Combat will be fast-paced with frequent gunfire, cries of pain, and explosions. Attacks on some enemies can result in blood splatter effects. Several environments depict bloodstains on the ground around corpses. This is not a surprise. The game will also include some suggestive material and dialogue. And after sharing a bed with characters, for example, life is a sexually transmitted disease that's 100% fatal. I'm all for getting a little wild, but next time, let's try it without the jetpacks. Talk about seeing stars. Phew, that was amazing. Also, a fictional drug named Aurora is going to be playing a very prominent role in the game. With a section involving players' characters working in an illicit drug lab. Players can also obtain Aurora by stealing or buying it from vendors. Consuming Aurora results in a distortion effect on the screen, and the words fuck and bullshit appear in the game, which is why it got it. So this sounds very interesting.
I like this. It sounds like it's a game that in the same way that Skyrim, for as much as like its serious story about the dragonborn killing all the dragons, is also just like I don't know, fuck it, do what you want.
Exactly right.
Like
Fuck it, do what you want simulator.
Got a real wacky sense of humor, and this kind of sounds like it's keeping in
I hope
in
so.
the style of that, which is
I really hope so.
Yeah.
I think that have we not already had enough of games that took themselves way too seriously and then were unable to deliver? And if they hadn't taken themselves seriously, they would. That's how we started the show.
Yeah.
How we started the show of like, give yourself a little wiggle room that maybe, if it sucks, at least you can throw the lulls in. So yeah, I'm that sounds fun.
Excuse me. Yeah, I like that.
How long until it says Jaffa Cree? Oh, you're talking about the AI, the AI judge, the chat JUDGE. I would absolutely tune into that channel and listen to it. In fact, if you could get 2 Google devices or Alexa devices to talk to each other, both of them in Christopher Judge's voice, and having them have a conversation, I would watch that all day. Chenderbox says it'll probably be banned in Australia because of the drugs or give it an R rating. Yep. Yes. Probably will. Australia is great in a lot of ways, but boy, does it not actually, not in a lot of ways, it's not great. That's one of the bigger ones. It's
Is
like,
that still a thing there?
Oh, yes.
Do they still ban games for like drugs?
Oh, yes. They have the gray-haired biddies telling everybody what they should and shouldn't play. And how dare you think that way? How dare you think that way? There's no gambling. There's no blood and drugs allowed in our games. Now, give me a scotch and let me go play the pokies.
Half your animals inject you with drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Point. In a country where everything's trying to murder you, you're really afraid of murder. Bitter says, make it happen. I wish I could. I just might. Who knows? With my vast amounts of spare time.
Yeah, just start tinkering with
for because everything's for the lulls.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's my thing. What's your next one?
The biggest story I have, and then I got a couple smaller interesting ones. Fulbright Studios, the developer of Gone Home and Tacoma,
yes,
is no longer working with Annapurna on their next game, Open Roads.
Yep.
So this comes 2 years ago. Fulbright was in the news because there was a report that its co-founder, Steve Gaynor, had basically turned the studio into like a real toxic hellhole.
Yeah.
And that he was a terrible leader. No one liked him. It was a terrible, horrible place to work. So now, 2 years later, I think what made that get into the news is that Annapurna, the publisher of Open Roads, the next game, like had to step in to basically mediate his toxicity, where the publisher is basically like, okay, you are ruining the timeline of this game. You need to fuck off. And so he stepped down from a managerial position and remained on as a writer of the game. Well, now, 2 years later, Fulbright has officially separated from Annapurna for the development of Open Road. The thing is, Annapurna is still publishing Open Road. Fulbright is no longer working on it. And instead, the game is going to be credited to the Open Road team.
Interesting.
And at least according to this Kotaku article, Gaynor is currently working on a solo project that will be published under Fulbright.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing that, I'm suspecting that basically the Fulbright studio revolted against him and left.
Right.
And that's why they've separated, is that
because there's nobody left. It's him
he's
and like an
a skeleton
admin
crew.
who's answering phones.
Yeah. Like, he owns the Fulbright studio. He's the co-founder. So they can't kick him out of it. But the rest of the team can leave, go work with Annapurna. And I'm sure that once Open Roads...
And they're the Open Roads team.
And I'm sure once Open Roads gets published, they will name themselves and become a new studio.
Yeah.
But I really suspect that most of the studio basically left, and Gainer's the only one there.
Yeah, and how toxic do you have to be like that epically toxic within the industry, in an industry that is known for toxicity?
Yeah. Well, like the worst thing about his toxicity is that it never rose to the level of other people, right? He wasn't sexually harassing anyone. He wasn't driving anyone to suicide. He wasn't pulling an Activision Blizzard. He was just like a really shitty boss.
Mhm.
Just a shitty boss, a shitty person. And it's just kind of continued on. And it's apparently whatever ramifications or whatever remedial steps Annapurna took 2 years ago
Right.
were not enough,
Not
because now everyone else is left.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing how that. I saw that same article and I thought about putting it on there, and I'm like, maybe not, because I have my own story of toxicity.
Okay.
So, Unity. I don't know if you remember, but Unity, I think we mentioned it on the show, that Unity fired 8% of its workforce, 600 people.
Yeah.
They made that announcement. They fired it earlier this month. They laid 600 people off, 8% of the workforce. But during the layoff announcement, they had all said that the company would be expecting the remaining staff to return to the office starting in September. This hasn't gone over well. It's happening across the tech world. One, because people don't want to do it, and two, because there have been multiple studies to show that people were actually more productive working from home. They were 13% more productive. So it's like, why are you bringing us back? Because we're actually doing better work and more work while we're at home. But when it came to the Unity callback, it did not go over well with one particular employee who pointed out that executives at the company might not have a very good grasp on what the lives of rank and file employees were like. Miranda Dew was a senior partner relations manager at Unity. She was fired this week following a tweet where she criticized an executive of the company. So the executive, well, I'll just read the tweet. A Unity exec just shared that they rent a secondary apartment in San Francisco to make it easier to be in the office. Maybe we should all just do this to make our lives easier to return to office. This company has lost it, completely out of touch. And in a follow-up tweet, she said, quote, renting an apartment in San Francisco would cost me over half my gross monthly salary, probably 3/4 of my take home at least. About 2 hours later, she confirmed also by Twitter that she had been fired. So she is not the first and likely not to be the last, not only within Unity, but other companies to air such complaints that the executives are demanding return to office for a lot of their people, not understanding that the economics of returning to the office are not what they were when they left office before COVID, when it was cheap to be where you were.
I think it's less that they don't understand and more that they don't care.
They don't care.
It's that same sociopathic behavior, right? Look, they can the reason they can afford to rent an extra apartment to make it easier to go to work makes it so that everyone else can't.
Yeah, the let them eat cake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of let them eat cake going around,
Oh,
especially with the executives, the tech executives who think they're just real people, but don't understand they make 600 times what your rank and file employee makes.
mhm. She has a good follow up too that AC Wraith linked to. She said, well, now I have some time to learn Unreal.
Yep, that's what that was her announcement that she had been fired. Yeah.
I mean, the frustrating thing is that Unity has been on a constant downward spiral for years now.
Yeah, it has. Well, since it went public, really. Since it went public. And also not a coincidence. I don't know a single company that has been their culture, their ability to keep employees, their ability to not fire employees on the regular or downsize has been positively affected by going public.
Yeah.
The only people that benefit really from going public are the people that actually are at the top. They've benefited fantastically.
Yeah. You need to show constant growth for the stock, and that Unity was basically a big fish in a small pond. But when they went public, they needed to move into the ocean, and they couldn't grow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, that kind of sucked. And mark my word, not the last person to air that almost that exact thing coming out on Twitter in the next few months, and not just for tech companies, but all companies that are demanding return to work without understanding that what they're asking.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, return to office. My bad. They're all working. They're all working their asses off, and more efficiently and effectively and happier. They're just not in the office. They're just not where you can see them.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. Just because I want to be able to see that I have my employees underneath me. I need to feel their pain. It needs to be in my face. Otherwise, I don't feel like I'm a success. Anyway, moving right along, your next item.
So, well, speaking of Nintendo, there's been constant rumors of a Switch 2 for years. And recently someone asked about, during the earnings call on Nintendo, someone asked about the 2-year gap between the announcement of the Switch and the launch. And they specifically asked, do they see a similar timeline for future hardware? And the president, what was it? Shuntaro Furukawa, basically said that no, the next Nintendo hardware will likely have a much shorter time period from announcement to release. And the reason specifically that they did that with the Switch is because around that time, Nintendo was getting into mobile games. That's when they had the Mario mobile game. That's when they released the Fire Emblem mobile game. So they're really getting into that. And so by announcing the Switch, they wanted to kind of head off worry and criticism that they were turning into a mobile company. Right. They wanted to reassure people, no, look, we have hardware incoming. So they announced the Switch 2 years ahead of when it was released. And since that's not the case now, you can expect a much, much tighter time frame.
It would be foolish for them to announce with a long time frame of when the next Switch comes out, because it will kill the sales on the current Switch.
Yeah. And so you don't want to announce it 2 years in advance.
Yeah, because that will dry up everybody buying a Switch. Because why would I buy a Switch when it is outdated in 2 years? So yeah, that makes sense. I only have a couple more stories. Both of them are very short, so you've got a couple short ones. I've got a couple short ones. We can rip through these fairly fast. First one is that Payday 3, which was announced in 2016, that was being worked on, And then in 2021, they announced that, yes, no, it really is. We're still working on it. It's coming out in 2023. We have yet to see anything about it. It is now almost halfway through 2023. A very brief teaser trailer came out from Starbreeze Studios, the makers, the studio of Payday 3. And Prime Matter, and it doesn't really show much. It's like 20 seconds long, and everything but 3 seconds is just text on the screen. But during that text on the screen, it says, quote, gameplay this summer, don't miss out. So we're going to see Payday 3 gameplay this summer. I'm very excited about this because I really liked Payday. It's a fun game. Super fun multiplayer game. I really enjoyed. Was it Chaos? I think I played it with Chaos and with Jay. Quite a lot for a while. I really like Payday. So I will very much like playing it with you on the regular, Nick. If it, depending on what else is out, that may actually be your go-to. So there's literally no other information other than that in the trailer. Over on Steam, the devs have cleared up a little bit more information. They said that, quote, we're now 5 months into the year of Payday 3 with not a lot of info revealed about the game yet. This has been frustrating for a lot of you, but we promise you the wait will be worth it. Our team has been working very hard on the game. This is still the year of Payday 3 after all, and we're now almost ready to start lifting the lid and let you in on how the game is coming along. I don't know if that, I mean, they say it's still the year of Payday 3, but it's a little bit late to just be lifting the lid.
Yeah.
So
You can't have the year of Payday 3 and then release the game in December.
yeah, I mean, I guess technically you could, but still, yeah. So unless they intend to they've been holding back and they're just going to bombard us with information, which they could be doing. I think that would be not a bad idea, especially in a year where there's been a lot of really big games that have taken a giant dump on their releases. This might very well be a good year to kind of come out with one of these smaller games that does really well. And really, it could take Christmas. Absolutely could take Christmas, given what we've seen so far this year. Certainly anything. Well, Zelda proves it. There needed still to be a game of the summer. Apparently, it's Zelda. The problem is there's still not a game of the summer for PC or Xbox or anything else other than the Switch.
Yeah.
So there's that field is still open. There has nothing been named. There could very well be a game of summer. There's going to have to be a game of summer because we can't have a summer with no game. So we'll see.
Look, by the time like summer fully hits, Jedi Survivor will be patched and working really well.
It still won't be the game of the summer.
I don't know. I've heard it's really, really good.
I've heard it's good, but it's not going to be the game of the summer.
Or Dead Island 2.
I think Dead Island 2 has a better chance of being game of the summer. Or something else is going to take it. Something else that's going to come out that's going to surprise people and is going to be on everybody's lips the same way that Zelda is on the lips of everybody else that owns a Switch. So we'll see. But yeah, also, let's see, the film or TV adaptation of Payday is still coming. We know that's still in the works. We don't know whether it's a film or a TV show. But yeah, that's also coming. That has Payday has a possibility of being really big this year. Really big, depending on what they do and how well they do it. Or if they're just blowing smoke up our ass about how they've been working really hard and it's right on schedule, guys. Don't worry.
You can't see it. I have the laptop sitting on the desk. And it blows hot air out the back. Mm-hmm. Jupiter just came over and sat down right behind it because he likes the hot air.
It's warm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cats are heat sinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could find a way to put a cat inside of a computer, you would never have to make another heat sink. That is the natural heat sink that it will absorb all heat and take it happily. All right, and your next small item is
This is just a fun one, and it relates to Dragon Age too. So
Mhm.
a couple like a maybe a couple weeks ago, a horror film came out with Russell Crowe called The Pope's Exorcist, and it's a horror movie about exorcism, blah blah blah. I guess at some point, they talk about the Spanish Inquisition, and the film uses, and here I'll show my screen.
Okay, well then
Um,
do it. Oh.
they use the symbol for Dragon Age Inquisition to represent the actual Spanish Inquisition. Oops, why is it zooming in? Anyways,
Yeah, I hate it when you do that. You
that
just do it. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, that's
that's
that.
that's the symbol.
Uh-huh.
And so you can see this little clip from the movie.
Ah!
They are, looking at some carving on a wall. You're in a deep, dark area. There's demons everywhere. And there's the symbol of the Inquisition. But that's not the Spanish Inquisition. That's the Dragon Age
Okay.
Inquisition.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I wonder, I there's a part of me that's like, aren't they stupid? But I think that they did this intentionally because the Inquisition, I don't believe, had a symbol.
That's true. I don't think they did. But I could also believe someone typing in Inquisition into Google,
Right, the
getting this
symbol of
symbol back, and then
right,
just going, "Oh, okay, I'll use
right.
that."
Possible. We're gonna have to hear. I'm gonna look to see what the explanation is because somebody's got some explaining to do. It's either a Easter egg for all us gamers, or it was a huge fuck up. All right. So
Oh,
my next,
that's why every time I use the scroll wheel, it zooms in.
because he's sitting on your control key.
Yes, Jupiter is sitting on the keyboard. I figured it out. Yep.
Well,
Now I can scroll. I can scroll again.
it worked. It worked out well because you could actually zoom in and you wouldn't have normally.
Mm-hmm.
So my last item is if you are a retro gaming fan, here is the deal of a century for you. Oh my god, huge deal. So I don't know. I never heard of Fanatical, the website Fanatical. Have you? Like for buying games.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, it's like GOG, but a different one like it. They have bundles. They have something called the Great Retro Game Deal. It is currently
Oh, AC Wraith has mentioned it.
Oh, he has. Yeah, it's currently 98% off. And I will bring this up on my screen. It is normally $159.89. It is currently being sold for $3.99. What is in this bundle, you ask? Well, it is Asterisk and Obelix. Slap them all, Asterisk and Obelix XXL, remastered, Asterisk and Obelix XXL2, Flashback, Mega Race 2, Mega Race 3, Moto Racer Collection, The Blue Coats North and South, Toki, and 13, one of my favorite games of all time, the cult classic 13. Not a bad deal at all. Let me see if I can pull it up. Come on. Oh, there it is. There we go. There we are. Those are all the games that are in it.
What is the Asterix and Obelix? Is that like a platformer?
I think Asterix and Obelix is I think it's actually I want to say it's a Scandinavian.
Okay, it looks like kind of a 3D beat 'em up game.
Yeah, let's see. The Indomitable Gauls are back with a new game. Yeah, they're French. The more than 10 years following their last appearance on games console and PC, Asterix and Obelix are back in a better shape than ever. Superb blend of action adventure for all with a winning combination of comedy and brawling. Where has Getafix gone? The long-bearded druid has disappeared, betraying his own people for Julius Caesar. So let's take a look. Yeah, it is definitely very European. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's a platformer. So, yeah. Very good deal, to say the least. Chunderbox says, I got Resident Evil Gold Edition for $13 the other day, over $100 on Steam. Wow, where'd you find that? The game AC Ray says the games sort of depend on your definition of retro, not exactly the stuff for the 16-bit crowd or less. No, not really. I mean, 13 isn't, but
I mean, it's
It
retro.
was a PS2.
It's retro, like my retro.
Right, PS2 retro.
Mm-hmm.
Not Nintendo or anything like that. Super NES or anything. So yeah, a really, really, really good deal for that. Normally, like I said, 150. Where is it? 100 and come on, where is it? 150 some odd bucks, and now $3.99. $159. Now $3.99. So if you're interested in it, it is fanatical.com. FANATICAL.com. Look for the retro Rampage bundle. So, next item.
I thought I had one thing. I don't have any stories. Oh, I was looking at games coming out this summer. The two games that I think could fit your definition: Diablo 4 and Final Fantasy 16.
Diablo 4.
Diablo
probably.
4 comes out the beginning of June, and Final Fantasy 16 comes out the end of June.
Yeah, by the way, don't they have like a closed beta or something right now? And you wouldn't know it because everybody's talking about Zelda.
For Diablo?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the only thing that could knock Diablo off the headlines is Zelda at this point. So yeah, I think that and it's apparently pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to play it.
What, Zelda?
No, Diablo.
Oh.
Both, actually. Right, AC Ray says but more than 203 items for $10 over on Itch.io. ITCH.
Oh, yeah, another like indie game bundle.
Another indie game bundle where I'm not seeing what's the name of the bundle. Oh, there we go. Turkey and Syria earthquake relief mega bundle. I am pulling it up right now. Yeah. Huge. They're trying to raise $500,000 for the Turkey and Syria earthquake relief. That's $10 for all of this. Ton of games. Wow. Operation Cat Chat. It's a game about being quarantined in an apartment with no internet and only your cat for company.
Aww.
Why have I heard of Camera Obscura? Ancient Tower to Forgotten Land.
It was in another bundle.
Yeah, maybe. RP8? Synthesizer and Groovebox inspired by Propellerhead Software Classic. Oh, the Rebirth. Oh my God. Wow. There's a something I haven't heard of in years. Reverb. Whoa. A Rebirth.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, that was a it was like a software, it's like a synthesizer software from like a bajillion years ago, back when God wore short pants. It was one of the first for creating electronic music. Into the Forest, Mushi Melee, Blackjack Math, Dr. Brown. When peace has been disrupted in society, there's one man to call Dr. Brown. Oh, looks kind of cool. Most excellent notes about the game. It's year 21XX. A great cataclysm nearly happened, but it was averted. Too much of an explanation. All right, so yeah, if you're interested in that, not super hot. Super is hot. So yeah, $10, and its offer ends in 7 days. So you got 1 week to pick it up. If you're interested in that, it's worth $800, and all proceeds go to charity. Thank you for the leak on that. Diablo 4 server slam beta sorcerer nerfs hit the wrong suspect. What was that about? I can't look it up.
I have no idea what any of that even means.
Yeah, me either. It's all just a bunch of random words put together. Was that even English? All right. So you wanted to be out of here by 4:00 to go to your parents' house for Mother's Day. It is 4:07. Yes. We managed to do it.
Okay, that's perfect.
So if you do have a mom or a wife who is a mom, or anybody you know that is like a woman that owns dogs or cats, just go wish them happy Mother's Day, even if it's a doggy mom. So happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers. And I hope you have a great one. We will be back next week. So we end the show. Yes.
Interesting. Sirius is super is hot. Is super hot means Baba is you. I might like it. That's okay. I will have to follow up on that.
All right. On that note, let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 678. We recorded this on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 14th, 2023. I've been Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick Nicola. Ways to get a hold of us: gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and on Twitch. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS as in videos. On Twitch, we are the GameHounds. Please feel free to join us live. We would love to have you. We also do release this as a podcast, as an audio podcast. Yes, in fact, the rest of the other shows are all going up today. I've already uploaded one. I'm going to upload the other two, and we will be all cut up to date. You can find that on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Audible, Google Play, wherever you find podcasts, that's where you can find us. Also, thank you very much for reminding me, Nick. Thank you, Libsyn, for being our host and not that other company that shall go unnamed because they're dicks. But yes, thank you, Libsyn, for being awesome. You are wonderful, and I want to have your babies. Discord. We have a Discord server. The link is on the screen right now. Please join our Discord server. If you are listening to the show as an audio, please go to our Facebook page. That is facebook.com/The GameHounds. And also you can find us, I think, on YouTube and as well other places where you can find our Discord server. Please join us. I am also listening there. Nick's on there all the time. People in the GameHounds community are all talking to each other, so please join the Discord server. Also, we are 100% Patreon funded. If it were not for the Patreon, we would not be on a video show at this point. So thank you so much to everybody on Patreon for helping us evolve, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have. Our patrons, thank you: Tor the Weech, Peter Cremo, Eric Baker, Anonymous, Pissed, Andy H. You did make all of this possible. So please, thank you very much. $1 a month is all we ask. It's 25 cents a show on average, like the most it is, for helping support the show. Please head over to Patreon. That's patreon.com/GameHounds. Also, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, Please don't forget, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Hit that button. It does make a difference. Even if it's just a couple of you, it does make a difference. We will see you next week. Have a great week, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. And we're out, except still on the video. All right, everyone, have a great week. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We will see you when we see you next week. You know where to find me. And also, again, if you will listen to the show as an audio, please send me an email to esellers@gamehounds.net. Let me know, should we even keep the music and stuff? Because since I'm not editing the beginning, the heads and the tails out of it, maybe it's worth it keeping it. Maybe not.
I'm pro. Like I said, we need the opening credits.
That's true. Can you?
We can't go Netflix and just get rid of the opening credits. That's
Oh my God!
disaster.
I gave these dogs a couple of treats, and look at them. They're just off the hook right now.
Oh yeah, they heard the outro.
Yeah, they heard the outro. The way that your cat knows the intro, these dogs know the outro. Wish your mother a very happy Mother's Day, and a happy Mother's Day to every single one of you and your moms.
Oh. There we go. There's the other one.
Hi, Joopy.
He looks very shocked.
That's the way. That's Joopy always looks like that.
He was not expecting to go on camera.
Have a great week, everyone. See you later. Bye.
Bye.